Watch how Kristan Hawkins destroys this woke college student so much that she starts to have a meltdown. Watch what happens.
When does the fetus become living?
That's actually a good question, but that line...
Yeah, of course, because you don't know it, because it's living. It's living.
How about you let her speak?
You're fundamentally denying science to validate your opinion.
You actively deny science, ma'am.
How am I denying? What science did I deny, Darby?
It's a child inside of you. It is a clump of cells when
I'm a clump of cells. What makes me different?
That you were born. You were born.
When does a child or fetus or clump of cells, whatever you want to call it, when does this clump of cells or fetus become living?
When it can sustain its own life.
But when is that? When is the sustainability? No, when is sustainability?
21? About like 30 weeks to born, like 24, 30.
Because how do you sustain life? Like my newborns aren't sustainable. You can't just have a newborn and they just live on their own, right?
Right.
They're not sustainable. They need help and assistance to survive. So is a newborn not worthy of life? Is a newborn not worthy of life?
I do have one thing to say to you. How is it that when my mom was in college 30 years ago, she was protesting the exact same thing that me and these wonderful other women and men on this side have been protesting? How is it? Why? Why are we still protesting? Why are we still having to talk about this issue? It is a basic human right to have an abortion, to have a choice.
The reason we're still having the question is because some people don't want to accept the natural consequences of heterosexual sex and be inconvenienced by another human life and want to selfishly choose to end human life in order to have their whims met.
Kristan Hawkins definitely held her own here in trying to show this student that it's not about the newborn being sustainable, because when you're born, as Kristan said, you can't fend for yourself. So her argument that was going back and forth, I mean, she didn't know it, the student, but she was absolutely losing it. But when the student shared about her mother 30 years ago protesting the same argument that those students are protesting about, to have abortions, when her question was, why are we still having this, the protesting? Why are people still disagreeing? I mean, if you really think about that question, that was kind of ridiculous, because there are so many things that happened even 50, 60, 100 years ago that brought disagreement and divisiveness to our country that's still going on today. Maybe in different ways, maybe in different conversations, but people are people, and not two people are always going to agree on a topic. And the students of today, that our children of today, are being taught that their way and their thought is the way of the land. And if anyone disagrees with you, instead of teaching them how to have a conversation, to be open-minded, to listen to what the other person says, they're just being taught to freak out. As this student was freaking out. I mean, I thought that she was gonna drop it down and go up on stage and beat her up the way she was acting. But it's pathetic. And the reason why the children of today are being taught not to have debates, not to have conversations where you are open-minded, is because in college they want to have our children all believe in the democratic way, in the liberal way. And if they teach them how to really have a conversation properly, how to debate properly, then they risk the chance of losing those people too when they start to hear the other side, and it sounds a little bit more common sense. That's just my thoughts to it. But I don't know, this girl was definitely put in her place, although she didn't even know she was.